What's up, family? Welcome to day 10. We're moving right along. So yesterday I talked about the evil twin. I talked about one of the evil twins, which was fear. So today I want to look at the other evil twin and how to overcome them both. Okay. Now, when I was growing up, I used to watch wrestling. Right now, this was a long time ago. This was before Raw. This was before WWE, whatever it's called these days. But I'm talking about back when the Junkyard Dog used to come out to Another One Bites the Dust, right? I'm talking about Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the missing link, Kamala the Ugandan giant. You know what I'm saying? Like the wrestling. I used to watch wrestling back in the day, and they had tag teams, right? So anybody remember the Midnight Express? With Jim Cornette, he used to have the tennis racket, right? So the Midnight Express, there was a tag team, but they were underhanded. And so they would pull like dirty tricks behind the ref's back when he wasn't looking. Well, when we talk about the evil twins, Fear and Pride, they are part of a tag team called the Destroyers, right? They're called that because that's what they do. They destroy lives and they destroy relationships. So today, we're going to talk about the other half of the Destroyers, which is pride. And I want to be very clear. There is no other enemy that is more important for you to know, understand, and be on the lookout for than pride. Just as the Bible says that God is love, Satan is pride. I ain't saying that's not in the Bible, but I'm saying it's just that's how much pride is connected to Satan, right? When I'm in my wood shop and I'm creating something, I have complete sovereignty over what I create, right? Whatever I create with a specific reason to do a specific thing. The purpose for which I create a thing dictates what I'm creating and why I'm creating it. In other words, I create things based on the purpose for which I will use it or need it, okay? But now watch this. Nothing I create I can't create. I've never created anything that can do everything. But also, nothing that God creates can do everything. Why am I saying that? Because I'm walking you through this creation thing about the human being because I want to show you something. So when he created the human being, he did so with a certain goal in mind, right? For example, he did not create man with the ability to fly like birds. Like you can't just go outside and start flying. He did not create man with the ability to breathe underwater. If you ignore these design parameters, you decide, oh, I'm going to go breathe underwater, then you're going to be looking at him real soon, right? I'm just trying to make you aware of how creators create, because the creator created creation the same way, right? So one of God's built-in designs for the human being is for connection. As a matter of fact, he created the human being to thrive on connection. Connections with him and connections with others, right? God creating the human being as a creature that thrives on love automatically made the opposite of love toxic to the human being. In other words, pride, which is the opposite of love, is toxic to the human being. Pride is when I'm focused on my needs, my wants, my hurts, my desires. Right? Pride is like a tasteless, odorless poison. I call it the poison of the soul and the spirit. 99% of the time, when you're walking in pride, you don't even know it, because pride dresses itself up to look like righteousness. But the Bible says that when you're being this kind of self-centered, it leads to destruction. And watch this. I'm here to validate that statement is true. Oh, I've walked in pride and I've met destruction firsthand. Okay. When you think about it, when you think about how dangerous pride is, think about this. It was pride that caused an archangel to fall from heaven like lightning. And the thing is, the enemy isn't going to try to get you to worship him necessarily, right? His goal is to get you to worship you. If he can get you to worship you, then his goal is accomplished. We are living in a world where it's all about me. We're so me-centered. I'm living out my truth. You gonna hurt yourself. You trying to live out your truth, where'd you get it from? There's no such thing as your truth, my truth, our truth, because if these truths are different, then it's not truth, because truth doesn't change. And for the believer, truth is not a body of information. Truth has a name. It's Yeshua, right? So the thing about the destroyers is that when you see one, the other one is somewhere around. Fear usually shows up first. Fear then opens the door for pride to walk in. Once pride walks in, it begins to wreak havoc on your relationship by dimming the light the light shining on the love that you have for your partner, while then turning the light on big and bright on yourself. But the thing is, you aren't even aware that you're doing that because you're walking in pride. And like, if you knew you were walking in pride, you probably get out of it immediately. So how do you fix what you don't know is broken? Like, think about that. How do I change directions? How do I go in the right direction if I don't know I'm going in the wrong direction? All right. Answer this question. How does it feel when you're wrong about something? If you said you feel bad, then you're probably answering something I didn't ask, right? You're answering the question, how does it feel when you realize something you're wrong about something? But I'm asking you, how do you feel when you are wrong? It feels the same way when you're right, because you don't know that you're wrong, right? If you don't know that you're wrong, you're gonna keep going the way that you're going, because who's gonna tell you that that's not the way, right? So remember this pride thing. Once you're walking in pride and you're moving in, so you'll be talking to your partner, and you'll be trying to control them. You'll be bashing them. So when you react in an ungodly way to their ungodly behavior, you can't see your ungodly behavior. Because pride dresses itself up to look like righteousness, right? So that's why I say when you're wrong, it feels exactly like when you're right. But here's the kicker. As if that wasn't enough, the more you operate in, hold on, why'd you do that? I'll do that notes. All right, cool. So the more you operate in pride, the more fear increases. As fear gets stronger, it then makes pride stronger, or pride expands, which then makes fear stronger, which then makes pride expand, which then makes fear stronger. And it just goes on and on like a revolving door. It reminds me of a commercial when I was a kid about doing cocaine, about doing drugs, right? They don't have commercials these days about drugs anymore. That's interesting. Have we given up on the fight for drugs? Anyway, so the guy in the commercial, he's like, I work a lot so I can make more money, so I can buy more coke, so I can work longer, so I can make more money, so I can buy more coke, so I can work longer, so I can make more money, so I can buy more coke. And he's just going in a circle, right? This is what I call a destructive vortex. Yeah. You've heard me say this before many a times. Pride is at the root of 100% of divorces. 100%. Every single one. Pride is at the root of it. Pride is the opposite of loving outwardly. Now, don't confuse pride with self-care. Like, selfishness and self-care are not the same thing. You do have to take care of yourself. And there are times when you have to put you first. As a matter of fact, sometimes you got to put you first in order to take care of other people. But pride is when you're not considerate of others as you put yourself first. Okay? When pride and fear are operating in your marriage, you guys will not be able to have deep intimacy. You ain't gonna be able to do it. Nope. So how do we overcome the evil twins? Right? How do we overcome fear and pride, also known as the destroyers? Like, how do we escape this destructive vortex? Well, there's another powerful tag team. That tag team is called the Warriors, right? The Warriors are undefeated against the destroyers. The Warriors are undefeated against the Destroyers. As a matter of fact, it's not really a contest between the Warriors and the Destroyers, right? So what's the war? The Warriors are made up of so the Destroyers made up of the evil twins. Well, the Warriors is made up of the Wonder Twins. I got all kind of Gen X references through my notes, right? But the Wonder Twins, okay? The truth is, truth and love must always run together. You shouldn't see truth without love or love without truth. Truth without love is like surgery without anesthesia, right? It may be needed, but it is unnecessarily painful. And then love without truth will set you up for misuse and abuse. But let me tell you why the Destroyers can never defeat the Warriors. Let me tell you why the Destroyers can never defeat the Warriors. So yesterday when I talked about the termites, I said that they do most of their damage in the dark, undetected, until destruction shows up, right? Just like pride and fear. Well, I also found out that there are 6 ways to kill termites naturally. But there's one way that stood out from the others, which was sunlight. Now, they say if there's not enough sunlight penetrating your home, then it's likely that termites are going to destroy your home. They say that sunlight is important to killing termites naturally because they typically thrive in darkness. So in the same way, pride and fear are eliminated not by sunlight, but by the sun's light. Y'all see what I did there? Right? Truth and love is the sun's light. But actually, so me telling you about the Wonder Twins, about the sun's light, it doesn't really tell you why the Destroyers cannot overcome the Warriors, right? That's not why the evil twins can't overcome the Wonder Twins. But let me tell you why. But let me tell you a funny story first. So one day I decided I was going to take a nap in my office. Now my office, that office I had at the time, not now, but the office I had 2 offices. So I had an office for therapy, and then I had an adjacent office where I do like office work, right? So I went to the therapy office because I wanted to lay down on the couch. Turned off the lights, and I turned off the lights in the other office too, right? So, but when I laid down, I noticed it was still too much light in the room because in the therapy room, there's a window. Now the window had shades, but the shades were closed, but it was still too much light. In the adjacent office, it's pitch black because there are no windows in the other office, right? So I know this is gonna sound crazy, but what I did was I opened the door between the 2 offices. I opened the door wide because I wanted some of that pitch blackness to come into the room with the light. But then it hit me. Darkness can never overcome light. Darkness can never overcome light. Like there's no struggle between light and darkness. The only way that darkness can ever occupy the space where light is if life quits. If the light gives up. Right? If light gives up, then darkness come in. Outside of that, as long as light is shining, darkness cannot. In the same way, the only way for the Destroyers to overtake your marriage is if you choose to stop walking in the sun's light. Yeah, when you're not being guided by truth and love, the Destroyers are already present. Think about it. Like if I was to turn these lights off in here now, how long you think it would take for darkness to show up? It would show up immediately. If you operate in truth and love, you will avoid the Destroyers. But please understand, if fear and pride was, let me say it this way. If fear or pride, if you see fear or pride, if fear or pride are a part of your marriage or a part of your life, because if one is there, the other one's there. But if you see any one of them, it is because you are not choosing to walk in the sun's light. It's a choice. Now, you can make that choice if you want to, but you're going to hurt yourself. Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself. That's what I got for you today. Make sure you like, share, and leave a comment, especially my Gen Xers. Because I know you all remember Saturday Night Wrestling and Stagger Lee and Junkyard Dog. They're the same person. Andre the Giant, right? So leave a comment and y'all can talk about how I messed up on the other video too. All right. Okay. Y'all take care.